So what memories do you have of the old Air to Cinema?
The fondest. Wacho Brooke Benton umntana America wathi, looking back over my life, I laugh and I cry. Kuyakuthiwa ngesikhathi, don't cry when something is over or is gone. Be happy that it happened. Those are the only fond memories I'm living on. But they are not enough. Because I want to share that happiness with you guys. And I can't. Because I don't know where to start. I don't know what to point and say this is it. This is it. Because everything is gone, dilapidated. Kubuhlungu kanjani ukubona izinto zifa phambi kwakho. You know, Iyetu and some of these places, but let me talk about Iyetu. Iyetu was the Super Bowl of Soweto. But what you are going to go to Iyetu, honey, you would dress up. You would dress up. People no longer dress up these days. Bazathi bayapi when they dress up. You would dress up and you get onto that stage. Angisakhulumi ngawe ke. Bekufuneka bafaka ama-sunglasses because you were just glittering. And that made the whole event. We had premieres of films ebezenziwa locally. Premieres of shows staged by Gibson Kente. We had yabona ubaba Tshabalala, ubaba Ephraim Tshabalala, no Mama Ncop. I salute them. May their souls rest in peace. That is if they are. But ngiyabacelela kuNkulunkulu, because okamanje there is nothing that they can do. Izinto sezandleni zethu thina abantu abasele. They worked. Ubaba Tshabalala used to say, le business uMaNcop ulimise ngamagwinya. Amagwinya. Ethi amagwinya yiwo le asibekela sikhona khona manje. Tina, we think you must have billions.
Yes.
To start a business? No. Start from ground zero. But all that fell into deaf ears. Why? Why bantwana bang? Why, Tina? I'm not excluding myself. I'm part of it. I'm one of the people to blame. But do I have the power? I may have the voice, but I don't have the power. I don't have the strength. But the little platforms like these, maybe one day, izawuwa le mbewu lasho iculo ithi yawa le mbewu enokuzolunga. Umfula was one of Soweto's pride. You know, a place that you called home, a place that was full of happiness. You know, it's a pity nje because abantu abafana nabo Baba Tshabalala, nabo Mama Ncop, nabo Baba Mpanza. You know, those people, we're not supposed to forget them. I just hope abantwana bakhe. But I know bayayazi lonto lo. Maybe nje abanamandla okwenza. Yabona? Because imbewu yabo is strong kabi. Those are the parents nami ngangikhalela ukuthi ngabe abazali bami. Ngendlela babengakhona. Ngendlela babebambene ngakhona. Hayi bona bodwa na wonke umuntu. You know. Ngokuziphatha behlonipha wonke umuntu, whether umncane or umdala, ukhuzwa mawenza into wrong. Bebengayifuni into ephuma endleleni. That is why ne-Ayetu ayak azangathi Tshabalala Enterprise. What in? Ayetu. What eyethu? Meaning eyethu sonke abantu benkosi lento engiyakhile. Yebo yimi engiyakhile, but eyethu. So that beyisho ukuthi iphatheni kahle, inakeleleni. Has that fallen into deaf ears? No, it cannot be. Bazapoga. Basebenza kanje makanje akho yazi uqova amagwinya and that time kwangekho le machine le manje automatic kwasha abantwana bathi mama lento automatic automatic beqova umama Tshabalala eqova ukwenza amagwinya ukuphakamisa le business nayo angathi mangcobe eShabalala enterprise ethi eyethu yonke indawo ebethi eyethu so makube njalo kube beyethu lendlu into manga yakho uyenzani mntana yayihlonipha uyithande uyiphathe kahle hayi lento siyibonayo so ngama pay points sonke le ndawo esasisebenza ukuzo ama pay points why kunabantu abangana vision na kunabantu abanga appreciate na kunabantu abasibheke bona na No man is an island. You may have 1 billion, but that will never do anything for you without the next person.
Yes.
You need omunye umuntu to help you to enjoy that money. It's a pity abantu abacabangi lo. Kanti injalo lento eniyohlala injalo.
Mr. Ephraim Tshabalala opened the biggest cinema in the complex. And in the same area, the cinema was run by his daughter Dombolo. And with the pride of seeing overseas musicians coming in the likes of Dobie, Gray, and the staple singers who used to come around and perform to the black audience in the complex Sowetan. And then at some stage, Mr. Tshabalala became the mayor of Sowetan.
Wait, before you became the mayor of Sowetan, have you met E.T. Tshabalala yourself?
Yes, I met him. He was very close to my late father because of his shop that was very close to his filling station at Crossroads.
Can you describe him? What was he, a big man? What kind of...
He was a big man, very punky and very soft-spoken, and he took his time. He always liked to... Whatever he said, it was always in Zulu. Uyabona mntwanami ukuthi uqhubeke ngalento kufanele wenze ngalendlela. That's how he used to talk. Very positive in his outlook towards life. Well, I was a regular in that because there was some relation between my late mother and Mrs. Tshabalala, whom I got the inkling that there must be some blood relationship because I used to frequent the place in Mufolo, which is not far from the cinema. And you know, the usual conversation that goes on between people of the same blood and what have you. And I was very, very close to them.
Yeah. But tell me, what did Mufolo mean to the residents of Sowetan? I mean, not Mufolo, but AH, what did it mean?
Oh, it meant a lot because it was the only cinema and the biggest of its kind at the time. It actually drew a lot of people from all the townships to come and see all the plays that was staged. For instance, Sikalo, the biggest, the doyen of Soweto playwrights, Gibson Kent, he staged it for weeks on end. And that is what a draw card, and to show that the volume, the capacity it has on the public, black audiences, it could accommodate.
So you're talking about theater, right? You're talking about stage plays, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it hosted stage plays, music shows, and the bioscope, 2 features
and
weekend.
Besides that, the people who used to conduct funeral services when they've lost their beloved ones, on Sundays that used to be the base on which they took advantage of the cinema. I'll recall a time when we lost one of the biggest actors in South Africa. He's the late Simon Mabunu Sabela. He had the biggest funeral that was conducted here at the cinema, amongst which was our first lady movie queen called, what is it, from Durban?
Cynthia Shange.
Cynthia Shange. Cynthia Shange also was attending that funeral with some of the celebrities at the
Bingo
time.
Bentley.
Bingo Bentley was there.
Ndaba Mhlongo.
Ndaba Mhlongo was no exception because of the prestige he had already got from Sikalo.
So all of those sort of the black first vanguard of actors, of screen actors were
Yes.
in attendance.
Yeah.
Aha. And you were in attendance.
He was given the biggest farewell ever by especially stage actors, movie actors, and people in the likes of the business atmosphere.
Fraternity. In the 70s, black people were going to the movies, and in the 80s, why were you not going to town and coming to AHU? Why was AHU so important for you?
It was a landmark. The fact that it was a landmark and we had forgotten about going to town to see movies, it had every facility which was at our disposal as far as staging plays, seeing movies, and things of the like. Were at our disposal. This thing had the capacity to accommodate every other aspect in the drama syndrome.
Yeah. And moving forward, what was the symbolical power of Mshengu Tshabalala in Soweto? Yes, he was a mayor, but before he was a mayor, he was a businessman. And so how did people feel about him? How did they look up to him? What did he represent to the people of Soweto?
Well, to my mind, the way, by virtue of his popularity at the time, being a very enterprising entrepreneur, in the community he was well projected, that's the first one. Secondly, he was a sound mayor of note at the time. And when they say E.T., they really completed everything because they know who E.T. is. That was his name. But the initials, they know, if you say E.T., it could only be Tshabalala, the enterprising entrepreneur in a black township that is known by a countless number of business people, church people, laymen, you name it, he's got it.
When you live in an area, it should be your responsibility to take care of it. When you have a councillor, the councillor's responsibility is to take care of the interests of the people of that area. And I think right now we are talking about Tshabalala, for instance. Tshabalala was a businessman, but Tshabalala also looked after the community because he ended up being a councillor in the area. And in his...
during the wrong era.
In the, yes, wrong era. But the thing is, yes, because at that time...
So we can't use the word sell out, because that was the word that was used.
Well, the word was sell out, but life went on. I'm not going to go into that. I know. But what he did in that time, he had A2 Cinema. He built A2 Cinema, which, yes, it was about business, but...
to get a license. So to get a license. That's how you put it. Anyway, I'm coming.
Yeah. But the issue is we had a place
what was it called? Urban Bantu Councils?
Yes, the Urban Bantu Councils, and which we revolted against all of that. And Tshabalala even had Mshenguville turned the golf course into a squatter camp. And we revolted against all of that. But today, for me, I am saying I have a problem with my councillors now. The people that are leading me now are not taking us where we wanted to go to as a black people of this country.
But the issues that we are raising, we're not different from white South Africans. We're all South Africans in the sense that we're messing up the country. Why am I saying that? It's not only us who are messing, but I'll come back to you. One, we have been colonized for more than 350 years. We won't sort out the country in 30 years. And it seems as if it's only us who have a burden as Africans to sort out the mess that they created. They are not joining us. Why? Look at the COVID thing. Instead of us as a country, I'm saying we're behaving like South Africans, saying to the president, open libraries and universities. We say, open bottle stores.
Yes.
You see, we say open bottle stores. We don't say open up libraries and universities. We say, we want our cigarette. Why did you ban cigarette? Rather saying, let's do something better for schools to open, black and white. So, as we are saying, we are quintessentially South Africans here, because I think that's the behavior. Again, also, if you look at things, this is not an excuse. I'm trying to say that what was supposed to happen after CODESA was that South Africans themselves should have had a dialogue, about what is to be done. We've never had a dialogue because we had to deal with problems that are facing our contemporaries in the African continent. The migrations came down because they are our people. We can't chase them back. People say that we are xenophobic as Africans. We are not. Think about it. Since the discovery of gold and diamonds, we've lived with Southern Africans who have been recruited to work in the mines from the 1860s. So it means by 1994, they have been with us here for more than a century. So when did we become xenophobic? The only thing that we needed to do was to say, guys, give us some time for us as South Africans to sit down and sort out the mess. And this is where these things that we are talking about will be on the table. We've never had that conversation, that we have been colonized for more than 350 years. Now that we are free, let's have a conversation. Some benefited, some didn't benefit. We're not victims. We want to build a car. What is to be done?
My name is Cindy Msibi. Ngizalwa kaShabalala. Ngizalwa uDombolo Tshabalala, the eldest of Mr. E.B. and Mrs. C.K. Tshabalala. I am her eldest daughter, or eldest child. Obviously, when your parent is deceased, they become angels. So it's a difficult question and an easy question. Look, my mom was special. She was unique, and also held, being the eldest of the two, the matriarch and patriarch. She had a special role. So similarly, me being her eldest child, I've also, you take on a lot in this family. A lot is expected of us because a lot is given to us. My situation is a bit unique. in that ngesizulu ngizalelwe ekhaya. So I am the child of my grandparents. So I was raised as their last born child. A2 was opened in the year that I was born. So my family always remembers that. Oh, good. No man, A2 was opened the year Cindy was born, so 69 is a big year in our family, because A2 opened then. So that's the one thing. So when I grew up, it was there. You know, I have birthday pictures. My early birthdays were held at the cinema, and the entire Mfulo community were invited to the birthdays at the cinema. And that's how, yes, for me, it was there already. I suppose for all the grandkids, we do not know a time when the cinema was not there. That's the one thing. So in relation to my mother, I think for many years, A2 was synonymous with her and, you know, what she brought to the family. In that, you know, for many years my mom lived in the United States, and during that time, that's when she got exposed and worked in the cinema and in cinemas and theaters, and got to understand the business of cinema and theater. So she brought that back to the family, that experience, that knowledge, the razzmatazz of it all. She brought that. So, you know, what I remember in the heydays were the gala nights, the kiddies shows, you know, a lot of theater, the arts that, you know, she made sure that, you know, it wasn't only cinema. And the cinema that was brought, yes, there was the bubblegum type of cinema that, you know, was was there for everyone. The latest movies, as you know, as soon as they could come to South Africa, she ensured that A2 got them at the same time as white cinemas got them. So when Rambo or whatever was being advertised to be coming to South Africa, we would also get it in Soweto. And in that way, you know, I must say, the distribution companies, you know, I don't know how they got around the apartheid laws and apartheid, you know, restrictions and suppression of black people, but somehow they did come to the party and ensure that A2 was, you know, had the leading movies. But going back to the types of the type of vibe and atmosphere, you know, Gibson Kent was a big part of our lives, you know. Each year, or how, I can't even remember whether he released a play, whether he released a play every year, or it was, you know, every 2 years. I can't remember, but that was a big deal. Gibson Kent opened at his productions opened at A2 Cinema. The music shows, Harari, Brenda Fassie, Yvonne Chaka Chaka, even international productions that she ensured that you know, were brought to Soweto, came to A2. So when they say, you know, Mfulo was the hub of entertainment, truly it was. It was from an international perspective, from a local perspective. And it was just being there as a young child, you know. At times, you know, as I got older, I had to work there. My grandparents made sure that, you know, work ethic, we had to be, you know, earn a living, and a living. And it was just amazing that, you know, I chose to work at the cinema out of all the businesses. But I suppose because it was right across the road, it worked for my grandparents as well. So being there and experiencing all of that was just awesome. A2 Cinema, Mr. Ephraim Badana Tshabalala and his wife, Mrs. Caroline Kinini Tshabalala, are, I think, iconic individuals, black people who, that's my grandparents, who set out to build something from their own steam without any leg up in the form of black economic empowerment or any other empowerment. Like others during their time, they're not the only ones. But these are stalwarts, in my mind, business stalwarts that did what not many could do and what the system would not, did not allow them to do. But despite all of that, they ensured that they created legacies such as A2 Cinema. So for Mfulo, it really was important. It was an important place in that it brought a lot of economic activity, jobs. It created a mighty load of jobs, and then from an entertainment perspective, like I said, international shows, local shows, big productions, people that went on. Leleti Kumalo, I first saw her here, as a young girl, still starry-eyed herself, and it was wonderful to see people that you saw at the start of their careers go on to do amazing things, and that all happened at A2 Cinema. So I'm proud of that legacy, and I believe the people of Mfulo are proud of that legacy.
And how would you like to see it being carried forward? Or would you like it to see it being carried forward?
The legacy of A2, it is important for our family that it is carried forward. Many people have come to us, like people concerned about the legacy of A2, concerned that the family has, from what looked from the outside, were letting the legacy of A2 just diminish and dissipate. But we were not. We worked very hard over these decades to ensure that this legacy does not disappear and is carried forward, not only for our family and our children and our progeny, but for Black South Africa. It is a symbol of black excellence, black endeavor, and we need to ensure. And the how is going to take a lot of collaboration, a lot of thought, a lot of new initiative, innovation, but it is in the works. We are in the process of trying to memorialize that, number one, but also bring it into action and bring it alive in another development adjacent to the shopping center.
Okay. You talk of Soweto, you see, talk of Soweto, you talk of A2, you can even hear name Kuku. Kuku. Oh yes, kwamshengu kwaShabalala. Kwadonga lamavusa isidwaba silithuli. Aw! Basopwe. The first time actually going to A2, I felt so good. I felt like a superstar as a young girl, because growing up in Dobsonville,
we used to go to the movie house. It was called Wiketlo. And the very first movie that I watched at Ayetu, I think it was Hercules Against the Barbarians, something like that. And just sitting at Ayetu, watching the movie on that big screen, you just felt, I'm in New York or I'm in London. And that was Ayetu for you. And my second encounter with Ayeto was when I entered for Miss Patco. Miss Patco, I think, was at Ayeto. Pet, I can't remember who was the queen, and I was the second princess. But just being at Ayeto, you just felt like I'm somebody. I must have been 18 years old. I just want to say thank you to Ubaba Tshabalala, because there were no recreational centers for us. Ayeto, Wiketong, I think those were the movie houses for us, and it was a beautiful theater. And then I started singing. After Miss Patco, I tried to enter for Miss SA. No, for Miss, listen to me, Miss SA, Miss Soweto. And I want to thank people like Ralph, people like Babsem Mangwana, Babu Ulenat, because they had all those big shows at Ayetu. My first concert, professional concert at Ayetu, it was watching Papa and Blondie, or Blondie and Papa, real superstars. It was just so beautiful. It was packed. We sat there, the sound was good, the music was good. Everything was alive. Everything was alive. So my heart is actually broken, to know that Ayetu is going to be buried. Why can't they just incorporate it? Because it's a national asset, guys. It's a beautiful place. Some of us, have seen great people performing there. And I want to say to the people of Mfulo, you were very, very lucky to have Ayeto there. We thank the Tshabalala family. We thank the people who supported you, because there were just no places for us. But Ayeto stood the test of time. My recollection about the Tshabalalas was that they were the trendsetters. I never met Umama, Umangcobo. Ubaba Tshabalala, we knew him. I think he was a mayor of Soweto at some stage. And just being around him, you felt that, and he was a simple man, but doing great things. So I've got respect for Abubab Tshabalala, Abubab Don, Soweto. Those were the business people that we looked up to. Wendade Maponya, I think Wendade is in Mutsuenyana. So Soweto has got great icons. But Ayeto put me in trouble. There was I, supposed to perform. And there were riots and political stuff and all things. And I was booked to perform in Soweto. So the comrades, and I think Jabu Ngwenya was part of the people who came to me and said, Siswam, akufuneka perform Ayetu. That's when I ended up performing at Regina Monti. Remember that picture that put me in trouble? It's because I was meant to perform Ayetu, but ended up performing at Regina Monti. And Umbuzen was the one who took that picture. But I sang, I'm in love, 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 with a DJ. There was a thing that Brenda Fassie and myself used to do, squat and throw the leg, And I forgot that there was a cross behind me, so I did my thing. And but church people forgave me. Abafundisi forgave me because they knew that I was a sweet Ghanaian. I was just merely performing. So that's what Ayetu did, put me in trouble. But above all, and being serious, Ayetu was just the place, and it still is the place. So I want to ask the powers that be to say, why don't we rehabilitate our places? Why don't we look after them? Why don't we make sure that these iconic places stay forever, so that our children, our great children, and our great-great-children can know what Ayeto is? Yes, I know with the economy, business, and all sorts of things, some things have to go. But I've got great memories of Eyetu. And I want to say thank you to the Tshabalala family. Msheng, siyabonga baba. You did so much for the people of Soweto City. Siyabonga kakhulu. Lapho lele khona, uningo wenzile. That's why today we're talking about you and the things that you do. And, Dombolo was an amazing woman, an iconic person, a stylish person. I know most of the functions, you were always there, dressing up to the T. And you took that from your dad, and a proper businesswoman. And we want to thank you. We want to thank the entire Tshabalala family for putting Soweto in the world map, for putting Eyetu out there to the people. Thank you. Siyabonga. Abantu book fair, it's always taking place at Eyetu. And I want to say thank you to those people who don't forget their roots, who don't forget their heritage, and still want to make use of places like Eyetu, because really, we do come a long way.
Tell us about E.T. Tell me about E.T. Who's E.T.? What do you know about E.T. Tshabalala?
Ephraim Tshabalala is the guy who started his business simultaneously Banabo Babu Richard Maponia. Yeah, he started with a very, 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 very small shop. It was very small. They were selling vegetables. They were selling fat cakes. The shop was familiar with selling fat cakes. So we used to go to Tshabalala's shop every morning, over the weekends, but if it's school times, we would go there on our way to school. Laba bebafunda la Soweto. But thina besingafundila besiya ngama weekend siyoquele amagwinya. Sidla lawo magwinya. It was very, very popular. Kuza nabantu baseDube bezothenga amagwinya la kaShabalala. Yeah, kuza nabantu base Scott Paula Mfulo North bezothenga amagwinya la, because he was the first person who takes amagwinya la Soweto. Kahle kahle, yes. Ubab Tshabalala. Sikhuliswe uye.
Yeah.
And ubethengisa namaswiti, yabona lento yokubeka amaswiti ngaphandle, thengisa amaswiti, thengisa ama vegetables. Ngama weekend Sunday morning siqueuile futhi lapha yana siyothenga ama vegetables.
What age is the 60s, 70s?
60s. Nangiqala mina ukuhlakanipha yabona ngabo early 60s. Yeah. Besiya siyothenga amagwinya lapha yana until he built the big shop now, which had a dry cleaner, the biggest dry cleaner in Soweto. It had a dry cleaner, they had a butchery, and they had the grocery shop, and they had a fish and chip shop. They were all there. And then there were other shops as corner Babe Kashis. I still remember, can't remember this guy's name. He was a Xhosa guy, he used to stay in Dube. Nayo wayeqhashe lapha nasasiya kuye, we used to say so stretcher in, we never used to say so relax. Besi stretcher besiya lapha yana every time ikolo nasivalwa, we go and do our hair there, and a day before ikolo sivulwa you must go and shave your hair, because you wouldn't go to school neyinwele stretch you, no bebezokuxosha, you wouldn't go to school ngalezo inwele. So yakhuphuka ke I-business yakhe until kwakhiwa iMfulo Hall. Yeah, iMfulo Hall bokwenzelwa ama concert esikolo laphayana. iMfulo Hall bokwenzelwa ama show ka Gibson Kente.
Yeah.
They used to be there.
Yeah.
Before abo ilifa. Wonke lawo masho. Yeah, ubusikhalo ayenzelwa lapha iMfulo. Abo how long before kuzokwakhiwa Eyetu. Eyetu yakhiwa nje ama shows wabona lapha iMfulo Hall.
iMfulo Hall beyaka Tshabalala.
I don't think so. I'm not sure whether begoya Tshabalala or begoya kaMasipala, but ngenzeka ukuthi kwakuya kaTshabalala or maybe together with ubab Tshabalala.
Do you know Mrs. Tshabalala, Uma Tshabalala?
Yes, besimazi mama Tshabalala, Uma Mangcobo. Yeah, mama Mangcobo besimazi. nabantwana bakhona bonke besibazi because they all used to work there. Abanye bebesebenza shop, abanye bebesebenza cinema. So besimazi mama be very very humble, mama benomoya phansi obethanda abantu. Ikhaya lapha nakaShabalala kwakuyikhaya labantu. Ubab Tshabalala lift you akuniki lift noma ngakwazi ukuthi ubani. Besazi kahle ama funerals, neighborhood funerals ukuthi ubab Tshabalala nakakhona lapha yana uzogibelisa abantu emotweni yakhe azakhiphe nezinye imoto. We understand ukuthi abantu bagibele emotweni in order to attend the funeral baye emathuneni ubenjalo ubab Tshabalala.
He was a community man.
Beze nizofuna amagwinya ekseni. Abanye abanika umsebenzi most yabantu bala in the neighborhood bebesebenza lapha kaShabalala, abanye basebenza ebusha, banye grocery shop, fish and chips, dry cleaner. Akunamuntu owayiswela umsebenzi lana, bonke bebeya kuShabalala babasicela umsebenzi, abanika umsebenzi.
And when he became a mayor?
Yeah, nakaba mayor I was still at school, I think. Nangaleso sikhathi mayor ubab Tshabalala ke indaba yama shacks la eSoweto yaqala ngayo baba because he introduced lesasiganga which used to be a golf course. Wathi abantu mabakhe imkhukhu lapha nabantu bangasweli izindlu. Yabona abantu bakha imikhukhu. In the meantime I understand babe khulumisana nobabu Sofa Sonke from Orlando East. Banabo baba Maponya ukuthi makuzame ukuthi kwakhelwa abantu izindlu, but then izinto they were not as good as now ukuthi babenga afford ukuthi bakhela abantu ama RDP yabona. Yeah, but yiba benza nama shacks eOrlando within the yards aqala kanjalo. Ubab Tshabalala wakhuluma nobabu Sofa Sonke ukuthi no kunokuthi abantu baswele indawo yokuhlala or abantu babe cramped in a small house. Kungcono ukuthi if they can't afford ukwakha ama room ngama bricks they can bafake imkhukhu, but they were not saying makufakwe lemkhukhu eseyifakiwe manje uthola ukuthi you can't even see the house is surrounded by the shacks. That was not the idea. The idea was that instead of nibe cramped in one small house ngono nakhela ngaphandle nakhela ama shacks lawo. Yeah, ubab Tshabalala I still remember nobab Maponya nabo bab Sofa Sonke, they were very very close.
Mshenguville.
Yeah, Mshenguville yaqala kanjalo. That's why it was called Mshenguville. It started ngayo ubab Tshabalala.
Now tell me, late in the 70s, 78, 79, 80, the nature of the shows that were happening, they started changing. There were a lot of international bands, Toby Gray, the Pointer Sisters.
Yes. Abo Percy Sledge was the first one to come from abroad.